Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Patrick Madden, the Executive Director of the National Archives Foundation. Happy July 4th from the National Archives. We're here having a fantastic day. We appreciate you spending part of your day with us on this holiday. Now, I know if you've been with us all day, we've had a lot of interesting conversations, a lot of knowledge bombs and history being shared, and we've still got a little bit more for you in this hour and the next hour. Don't forget, after this session at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll be airing the traditional ceremony and reading of the Declaration of Independence from the National Archives. Fast fact for you, Nicolas Cage. Did you know Benjamin Gates did not really steal the Declaration from the archives? He also did not find a map on the back of the Declaration. Spoiler, you can ask the Archivist of the United States or the conservation staff who've looked at it. The Declaration is safe and sound at the National Archives. I do highly recommend you watching the movie National Treasure. We're fans, and you can add that to your summer movie list. In a minute, you'll meet our guests, and they are going to take your questions. So to ask your questions, next to your video, there's a chat box in YouTube. Please put your questions there. You can do that while they're presenting, or you can wait to the actual Q&A session. But right now, if you want to practice, we'd love to know where you're watching from. We've had folks from all over the country, all 50 states watching today, as well as some internationally, which is super exciting. So throw your hometown in the chat box now, and we'll give you a shout out later on. Now it's time for our world-renowned guest. Brad Meltzer is a New York Times best-selling author of fiction, nonfiction, and children's book, another typical overachiever. His partner in crime, Chris Eliopoulos, is an award-winning illustrator who has written and illustrated graphic novels, comic books, and somehow got convinced by Brad to draw scores of historical figures for his I Am series. For the adults watching, Chris's stuff reminds me of Calvin and Hobbes, so I'm a big fan. Guys, happy 4th of July. How's it going for both of you?
Good.
It's great. And Patrick, I want to first, we owe a huge thank you to Patrick, who is the master of the National Archives Foundation, and a special thank you to the Archivist of the United States, our dear friend David Ferriero, who is one of my heroes. But the reason you are hearing a voice, and this is Brad, and Chris is drawing, but is because the archives, in honor of all of you watching today, we are sticking with 17th technology. And in 1776, and this is true, you can look it up, you can only have one person on Zoom at a time. This is the part I'm not joking about. We can only figure out how to get one of us on screen. So Chris and I, we decided to flip a coin. The coin went on its side, and then we decided to arm wrestle, and then we just decided that it was going to be the most handsome man gets to be on screen. So Chris, happy 4th of July. And yes, that is Alexander Hamilton, for anyone who's watching. But we are going to do this. He got his shot. Anyone, look, now we're playing like Penn and Teller, by the way. So I can talk and Chris cannot talk, which, by the way, this is the greatest moment of my whole life. And what I'm going to tell you about very quickly, and then we're going to share the very first preview of I Am Benjamin Franklin with you, pages no one's seen before. And Chris is just going to draw the greatest heroes on the planet. And now he's drawing my favorite hero of all time, the most handsome. Literally, I think that's probably the most handsome drawing he's ever done. He's looking so good. Oh, now it's probably the part where he's writing blah, blah, blah over my head, isn't he? I bet you he's writing blah, blah, blah. He always writes blah, blah, blah. Ha, 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 very funny. So I'm going to tell you very quickly about these books. Chris and I have kids, and like so many of you watching today, and we were tired of our own kids watching reality TV show stars and people who are famous for being famous and loudmouth athletes. So we decided to start writing books for them. We started with I Am Amelia Earhart. We started with I Am Abraham Lincoln. And the reason we started was, I'll tell you the story about Amelia Earhart very quickly, is I told my daughter, to give her better heroes to look up to, I said, Amelia Earhart flew across the Atlantic Ocean. And my daughter was like, big deal, Dad, everyone flies across the Atlantic Ocean. And she wasn't impressed at all. But when I told my daughter this true story about Amelia Earhart, and this is true, when Amelia Earhart was 7 years old, she built a homemade roller coaster in her backyard. She took a wooden crate, she put roller skating wheels on the bottom, she put the crate on the roof of her tool shed, came flying down the side, flew through the air, crashed, got up, was like, that was amazing, whatever she said. my daughter was like, Dad, that story's awesome. Tell me that one again. And so that's why we started writing these books. I'm going to guess that's Ben Franklin.
Well, we got to keep it topical, right?
Yes, we're on topic now. We are in the National Archives, although I think you gave Ben Franklin more hair than he is on the book.
I was trying to be generous.
If you could give me more hair, I'd appreciate that. So what happened was we started writing these books. We did I Am Rosa Parks after that. We did My Son Loves Sports. I was like, you want to see a real sports hero? Meet Jackie Robinson, right? I was like, that's what a sports hero looks like, people who stand for others. And we did, that's right, I Am Albert Einstein. But one of the things that was pretty amazing to us, we did Lucille Ball.
Sorry.
And one of the things that was really amazing is as the 2016 election was approaching, something incredible happened with our books. Two of our books started selling more than any others. And they were I Am Martin Luther King Jr. and I Am George Washington. And there he is. And it wasn't a Democrat or Republican thing. What happened was parents and grandparents were watching the TV every day and seeing Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton arguing every day on TV. And God bless them both. Like, that's what politicians do. But we all know there's a huge difference between a politician and a leader. And what parents wanted to show their kids were what real leaders look like. And we decided to do these books. People started using our books to fight back against the cynicism we see so often in the world today. And I love the fact that we get to bring these heroes like Jim Henson and like Jane Goodall. Jim Henson is, look, now he has to rap. Whatever I say, he has to say. Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong. You didn't even hold it up. Nelson Mandela.
Wait, what?
We didn't even do Nelson Mandela. That was a trick question, and Chris just passed. But what I'm going to do, I love the fact, by the way, this is my favorite way to ever do an interview is because I get to say whatever I want, and Chris just has to react to it. So I could be like, Superman, and you have to have Superman. And instead, I don't even know who you're drawing. Oh, you're drawing Nelson Mandela, aren't you?
I was trying, but...
That's a first-time drawing. No one's ever seen it. So one of the things that we wanted to bring today is we brought a couple heroes. We obviously want to talk about George Washington, and then we'll talk about Ben Franklin. But very quickly, George Washington, because here we are, we're in the National Archives. This is the amazing, wonderful place. I highly recommend if you bring your kids to D.C., come to the National Archives, show them the Declaration of Independence, show them the Constitution. And one of the things that what I love is what we try to talk about is we all know George Washington. He's Sacagawea.
Sorry, I'm
yes, you can go to Harriet Tubman. But one of the things that I love about George Washington is we all know him from the dollar bill, but oddly, we know so little about him personally. And you'll see that when we tell the story of George Washington, is people will tell you he's the perfect boy. They'll tell you the story about him chopping down a cherry tree, which of course is not true. But with George Washington back then was like most boys. He liked swimming, he liked fishing, he liked riding horses. And he was a decent athlete, but nothing spectacular. But mostly he was an ordinary kid. He was good at math, bad at spelling. And my kids love the fact that George Washington is just like them, right? Good at math, bad at spelling, just like the rest of us. And one of the things we're going to talk about is that in life, and you'll see this in Ben Franklin's life too, there are many ways to lead. You can be a quiet leader, you can be a tough leader, you can be a bold leader, but leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. And that leads us, Brad Franklin. That's me as Ben Franklin. I like that. So let's talk about Ben Franklin. You ready to show? This is going to be the preview. Let's put it up on the screen. We're going to show you. You're the first ones to see. We're going to show you pages no one's seen before of I Am Benjamin Franklin, which is coming out in October. So this is the awesome cover. Notice the fantastic lightning bolt that Chris did, which I think is amazing. And we needed to have it be perfect lightning like Dark Knight Returns. And you'll go to the page after that. You're going to see what I love, of course, is I love any bald men that have done good things with their lives. So this is I Am Benjamin Franklin. But one of the things that we feature in this book and that we brought here, no one has seen this page yet. I don't think anyone's seen it. But this is the moment when you'll see the Second Continental Congress. And there he is. And there's little George Washington. And there's little Ben Franklin. And he says, I'm going to read this to you. So it says, of all my experiments, perhaps the most important one was this one, the American experiment. Back then, the United States didn't exist yet. There were no states, just 13 colonies, all controlled by King George III, who was treating us unfairly. In 1775, the American Revolution was beginning. And he was elected to the Second Continental Congress, where he voted for the 13 colonies to join together and fight as one against the king. And here's the part that you'll see right there, that little join or die, that little snake there. That is the first political cartoon in history, and it just shows that when we're strongest as a country when we stand together. But the reason we brought Ben Franklin is not just so we can tell you about this book that's coming in October, but it's for this next page, because this is about the National Archives. Is on this next page, you'll see it come up right now. It says Thomas Jefferson was selected to write a document that would declare our independence from England. And in it, we tell the king what kind of country we hope to be. People who lived here would have certain rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But here's the part I love. Jefferson, he says, asked me to read his first draft, and he made a number of changes, including this one. You can see he's crosses out. Thomas Jefferson wrote, "We hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable." And Benjamin Franklin's like, sacred and undeniable? What if I change it to this? And he says, what if we say we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal? And through history, it's always been true. Nothing can stop a good idea. So that is the pages we brought you from Ben Franklin. You'll see it come out in October. Please don't tell anyone you saw it. Our publisher's going to be all mad if we showed it first, but you are the secret keepers now. And I'm going to turn this over to Chris, so Chris can tell you some more, and he's going to help you. You are going to magically, today, anyone there, go get paper and pencil, because you are magically going to become artists. I'm going to stick around. I'm going to be drawing too, and then we'll do some questions. So think of good questions. And everyone, ladies and gentlemen, meet the greatest artist on the whole planet, be Christopher Eliopoulos.
Well, I have some leftover books, so I'm just gonna hold up a couple right before we go. So we got Billie Jean King, we have Marie Curie, we have one of our favorites, Walt Disney, and then the last one was Leonardo da Vinci. So I'm gonna make you guys artists like Leonardo. So we're gonna draw George Washington, not this guy, but a different one. So grab your pencils and paper, and here we go. We're gonna make this simple for the kids. Just follow along. We're gonna go step by step. We're going to start with a very simple line right across the page. Now, when I draw these pictures, I sit at home alone in my studio, and I tend to make sound effects. So while you're at home, make some sound effects. I want to hear some rocket blasts and fireworks going off while you draw, okay? Next up, we're going to draw like an M shape. It's sort of like a roller coaster. We're going to go up, down, and up, and down, right? Do you have that shape? Anybody know what that is yet? I'm sure if you guys were watching Hamilton, you saw this hat somewhere. We're going to draw a little half circle. And then we've got a...
Sure, what makes that noise?
I know. I don't hear Brad making the noises, but that's, my thing. There you go. Okay, next up, we're going to do like a little half circle down here. We're going to go... just like that. All right. It's going to be his chin and his face. We're going to start doing his hair. So his hair is just a bunch of little squiggly lines. We go woo, 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 just like that. And we're going to do one on the other side. We're going to go woo, 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 woo. All right. And now we got to do all the big long back hair. So we're going to do those big squiggly lines. Now, back in the day, right, they used to have those little ponytails. I guess people are doing that today too, right? We're going to do two little lines. And then we're going to give him his little ribbon. So we're going to do a little circle. And then two little triangles and fill those in. All right. Let's get started on some of the hat features. We're going to start. He had like a little symbol on his hat. I'm going to start with a circle right there. And then I want to see you guys do like a little wavy line right around that. Because he had to be fancy back in the day. And then we're going to draw another little M inside. Right, so that's his little hat. Next up, here's a question. I bet even the archivists don't know. Does anybody know how George Washington smelled? Brad?
He smelled handsomely.
He smelled with his nose, just like everybody does. They smell with their nose. So we're going to draw his nose, just like the dollar bill. And then we're going to give him a couple little dots for eyes. So I want you to just do a couple little dots on either side of that conker of a nose. All right. Next up, we're going to do a little eyebrow. Boop, boop. Now, we're going to give him a big smile, but he always kept his mouth shut. Brad, why do you keep his mouth shut?
Because his teeth were so bad.
His teeth were so bad. And he used to wear these fake teeth with contraptions. They had like animal teeth and other human teeth in there. It was really gross. So he always kept his mouth shut. Next up. So back in the day, they used to have these flurry little shirts. So we're going to draw a couple little circles down there. And then we're going to draw a line. Another line. And then one more for his arm. One for his other arm. And then once that's done, I want you guys to just sign your name. This is how I sign my name, but put your first name or your last name, whatever you like, because it's your drawing and you get to show the world that you've become an artist. So other than learning about George Washington, now you can draw him. And I want you to share that with everybody in your family. I want you to video call your grandparents and show them that you can draw George Washington, all right? Sound like a plan?
Don't say to Chris, just say you did it yourself. They'll be they'll be super impressed.
Yeah, don't mention me. It's all on your own. You figured it out all on your own. So what do you say, Brad, that we maybe open it up for some questions?
Yes, and what we should do is we're going to ask the very best question, or at some point, I want someone to ask for you to draw one more hero. But we're going to have someone pick who that hero is going to be. So you have to ask a good question, and if the question is somewhere in there, we're going to draw a couple more heroes. So yeah, let's do some questions.
Oh, and
Very good.
Oh boy,
I've had a little costume change
Oh my
here
gosh, that's
to get in the
spectacular.
mood. We've got folks, just so you guys know, we have folks from Dallas, Philadelphia, Alexandria, Florida, Fullerton, California, Marietta, Milwaukee, Somers, New York, Idaho, LA, San Diego, New Jersey. We've got the whole country pretty well covered. So here's the first question. It's a hard biting question. It's going to go to Brad. Brad, who does your hair?
Let me tell you something. So many kids are not going to care about this answer, but so many parents are. And I get the number one question that people ask me is, who does my hair? And I'm going to say to you, if you are going bald, I mean this for all the dads out there. If you're going bald, shave your head. Shave your head. You think you look good. If you cut it close, you think, nope, you don't. Don't do the cul-de-sac. Don't do the accountant. Shave your head. It will free you. Chris, you can show them a picture of me in the back of the book so they know exactly what I look like. You can find me in all the books. Chris has hidden me in every single book. There is a picture of me in every single one. So I'm like the bald Where's Waldo.
I got you a Mickey hat here.
There I'm wearing Mickey ears. But you can find me in every single book. You can find also, I should tell you, these are secrets, but you can find the number 27 is hidden in every book. You can find the next hero that we're doing is always hidden in the book. So if you look at I Am Amelia Earhart, you can find Abraham Lincoln hidden in that book. If you read I Am Abraham Lincoln, you can find Rosa Parks hidden in that book. If you find I Am Leonardo da Vinci, the newest book that came out, you can find in there Benjamin Franklin. Mm-hmm. And when you're reading I Am Benjamin Franklin, I can tell you that the hero that's going to come out with him is probably our most important hero we have that we've maybe ever done, is we're doing I Am Anne Frank. And that's going to be a really special book. And that's obviously a very long-winded way to say shave your head, but shave your heads, I promise. Not kids, I don't mean you, but the adults, do it, you'll be free. Very
Thank you for that personal care advice. Unexpected.
Not the way you thought this was going to go, Patrick, huh?
But that's what you get when you have live broadcast. So I want to remind folks, questions can be posted in the YouTube chat. We're starting to get some in here. So I think this is probably for both of you. Who's your favorite American hero?
Brad, you want to go?
Chris, you want to go first? Go ahead.
I have to say my favorite is Neil Armstrong, even though I throw his book across the room. Not only the fact that he was the first man on the moon, but the fact that he did it with humility and included everybody. I think he encapsulates the United States. He never said I, it was always we. We did this, we went to the moon together. And he went down to everybody on the list who helped get him there. So for me, Neil Armstrong is the greatest American hero.
I will say for me, and let's see if Chris can draw him as I'm talking about him, but
right.
I have two, but Abraham Lincoln is definitely my favorite president. I just think no one, of all the presidents I've studied, Watch how fast he could draw Abraham Lincoln, by the way. It's crazy. No one lives up to all the hype like Abraham Lincoln does. He just over and over does the right thing, even when it's not to his benefit. And I admire that. I think the other hero that Chris and I both look up to is Jim Henson. And when Chris and I were kids, when we were just 7 years old, 6 years old, men like Jim Henson, Mr. Rogers, they came on the TV screens and taught us you could use your creativity to put good into this world. And that is all Chris and I are both trying to do today. And thanks to the National Archives, is trying to use our own creativity to put some good into this world. And it's why, we do our books here, but we also do Xavier Riddle in the Secret Museum on PBS, and we get to now be on that station. That is, by the way, the first Abraham Lincoln and crossover with Kermit the Frog. That's a historically accurate drawing. Abraham Lincoln used to sometimes have a Kermit the Frog tattooed on his hat.
He gave all his speeches with a Muppet on his hand.
Yeah, we're just misinformation. But I will tell you, again, all that joking aside, because I can't do any historical jokes when I'm at the archives because it's so important to get it right. But that is our best way to say that those are the two heroes for us.
That's great, Brad. And actually, you hit on something. We are focusing on historical accuracy, especially today, but we do that every day at the archives. But where are some of the places you've done research as you decide which historical figures to feature? Obviously, you're good friends of the archives and are regular with us doing research. But what are some of the other places around the country? I think folks might be interested in that.
Did we lose him? Brad, are you muted? Where'd you go? Oh no, we lost him. I will tell you. Brad, did I lose you?
I think you got me back.
Oh wait, he's back. Hold on.
I got it back.
Okay.
That was weird.
Technology.
This is what happens when you use 1776 technology.
We have to get like a horse and buggy to take you over here. Did you get the question?
I did not hear the question. Sorry.
Well, I will sort of lead you in, but I will say recently when we did launch the show, I got a chance to go to the Library of Congress and talk to them a little bit about our Anne Frank book. So for me, I've gotten research from them. I do a lot of reading with books. Brad, where did you get some of your other research? Yeah,
so my favorite, and Patrick knows the answer to this, because only a man in a red, white, and blue outfit like that knows, that is a patriot. And he knows my favorite place to research is the National Archives. I have worked with the archives for, I think, 5 different novels, plus our TV shows. We filmed Lost History there. We filmed Decoded there. We filmed, we even had help from them with some of the stuff we did for Xavier Riddle. And the thing that's so great about the archives when you go is, one of the places that they've taken me when I go there is they have these secret vaults. And I wish they were open to the public, but they were amazing. And one time we were back there and they took me into this secret vault where they pulled out what they call a loyalty oath that George Washington used to ask our military members to sign. And it was basically an oath that said you will be loyal to this country. And they were all numbered in the corner. So number 1 in the corner was signed by George Washington, number 2, number 3, whatever it was. And I believe it's number 5. They pulled out the 5th one. And it was signed by a man named Benedict Arnold. And Benedict Arnold, I know little kids, it's hard to know, was one of the great traders of America. But Benedict Arnold was someone I read about in history books my whole life. But when I saw that document at the National Archives, I see that pen on that ink on that paper, and I know that at one moment in time that he was a real person who used a real quill and dipped it in real ink and signed his real name, and history came alive. And when you take your kids to the National Archives, that's what happens as history comes alive. You get to see the Declaration, you get to see the Constitution, you get to see all the amazing documents they have there. And in fact, I think we featured the archives in a couple of the books. We put them in the background there. But I love the fact that you get to see, I know Chris based that drawing on something that was real too. And I love the fact that all of that history exists in the archives. So that's been my favorite place.
Terrific. This is a question for Chris. How did you learn how to draw so well?
Oh boy, it's funny. Just like the George Washington drawing we did, everything I did step by step. I wasn't born being able to draw. I don't think anybody is. We just work at it every single day. Brad writes every day. I draw every day. And so the only way you get better at anything is by doing it all the time and trying to improve. There's no magic trick. I don't believe anybody is born with an ability beyond pretty rudimentary skills. I just try to keep doing it every day. And I think that's a lesson for everybody in whatever you do. Forget about just drawing, for anything in life. As long as you keep working at it and trying hard and really loving what you're doing, the sky's the limit. So if you keep drawing like I just showed you, you'll be doing my job in a couple of years.
Great. Well, we've got
That's
some
all
more
Chris wants. He
requests.
wants someone to take his job from him.
Yeah, Brad drives me crazy on every book.
Let me
so.
tell you my favorite Chris Eliopoulos story is when Chris was
Oh.
little, he was so shy and he had a bad day at school. He would come home, and this is how an artist communicates, right? Tell the story, Chris, because I'm not going to tell you. You have to do it better.
So when I was little, yes, I was a very short kid. I'm still very short. I was very shy. I did not talk. I mean, I even have my kindergarten report card that says Chris is a very sweet child, but he never wants to sit in a group. I would always sit away from everybody else. And so when I had a bad day, I couldn't even tell my parents how bad the day was. So I would go up into my room. I would take out a piece of paper and a pencil, and I would draw like basically a comic about what had happened to me that day, how I went to school, somebody picked on me, how I did bad on a test, and then I came home and I was sad. And I would fold up that piece of paper into a paper airplane, and I would go to the edge of my steps. I'd mail it down the steps. My mother would go and she would pick it up and she would read the story of my day and realize what problems I was having. And she would come up and talk to me and make me feel better. So even as a young child, I communicated through drawings. I found it's the best way for me to let people know what I'm thinking. And now we do that with these books. I feel like I get to tell somebody else's story through picture and sort of do them a justice the same way that I had to do it for myself.
And not only that, you know, one of the things that we've found, we've done now 22 of these books. Yeah. And the one thing that all these people have in common, there are really two things, but one is they all help someone. Every hero in this that we write about, whether it's Amelia Earhart or Abraham Lincoln or Rosa Parks or Benjamin Franklin, they all help somebody. No question about it. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what makes you a hero. You don't have to change the world. You don't have to be the president, but you could just be kind to someone. You could just show them a little compassion. But the other thing that they all have in common, over and over, is they're all doing what they love. And when you hear that story of Chris drawing, it's him doing what he loves. When you hear, you know, Jane Goodall loved animals. I wrote that book because I wanted my daughter, who loves our dog, to see that here's what you can do with the things you love. She studied animals. She studied chimpanzees, changed the world with it. Jackie Robinson loved baseball and sports. Jim Henson loved puppets. Walt Disney loved to create and draw cartoons. So whatever it is you love in your life, I know you're all listening now, and you know, some of you may love sports, you may love dance, you may love robots, you may love building, you may love creating, but keep doing that thing you love. That's how you change the world.
That's great and very relatable, obviously, the kids, adults who are on, as well as the kids who are listening. So, Chris, you're getting a little grief in the comments chat because you're not drawing enough. So we've got requests for Sally Ride, Albert Einstein, Jane Goodall.
We can do Albert Einstein, and if they want, we can do another. If we have time, I can do another draw along of Albert Einstein. He's always fun.
Let's do that.
Okay, so yeah, I'm really sorry, but what happens is when Brad and I do these things, and I start drawing, he gets distracted as well, and I hate doing that to him because I want to let him speak. But let's go crazy. So, Patrick, what's the first letter in the word Constitution?
C.
Wow, that took you a long time, Patrick.
That was not a trick question, Patrick.
So I want everybody to draw a C on the side of their page. And then we're going to draw a U shape right down here. And then we're going to draw another backward C on the other side, all right? Now, with Albert, he had some crazy hair. As we like to say in the book, it looked awesome. So we're going to start with a couple little hairs sticking out over his ears. So we're going to do a couple of U shapes. Then, like, he's got a hairline much better than Brad and I. So we're going to go like a roller coaster. We're going to go up and down, up and down. And of course, we got to go right to his nose. I won't do the nose joke again, but this time we're going to do a U shape. Like George Washington before, a couple little eyes, dots. Whoop, whoop. Now, I don't know about you guys, but my grandfathers used to have these caterpillar eyebrows. They're really like, they never cut them and they kind of grew all over the place. So we're going to do that for Albert. We're going to give him a couple little M shapes. And we got M's. And of course, the second coolest thing besides his hair was like the mustache. It was like so big it covered his mouth. It like probably had soup and food in there for days. So we're just going to do a bunch of U shapes. We're going to, and there you got a big giant mustache. Now, of course, his hair is the most cool thing in the world. It's awesome. It's big. Like he used to let it grow out and he didn't cut it and he didn't barely probably wash it. But what we're going to do is a bunch of upside down U shapes around his head. We're going to go big or go home.
That's the best hair ever.
Best hair. And of course, he used to always wear a bow tie. So we're going to give him a little bow tie. We're going to start a little circle under his chin. And then a triangle on one side, triangle on the other. And there's Albert. He's a little off. It's a little hard for me to draw sideways, but there's your Albert Einstein, who was a pretty interesting character himself. Speaking of people, you know, who had to learn as they went along, his big thing was he doesn't think he was smarter than anybody else. He just kept at the problem longer than anybody else. So that's the great thing about him.
And you know what I love about Albert Einstein? We wrote this in the book is, you know, ever been called weird? Ever been called different? That's not a bad thing. That's what's beautiful. We don't celebrate it that often today, but I have so many people who come to us and thank us for writing a book that it's good to be different. It's beautiful to be different. And you'll see in every one of our books that it's never about just the history. It's, of course, the history is in there, but it's about that moral lesson. In the back of I Am Amelia Earhart, it says, I know no bounds. On the back of I Am Abraham Lincoln, it says, I will speak my mind and speak for others. And on the back of I Am Benjamin Franklin, it says, improve yourself and you'll improve the world. And each time we want to make sure that your kids have those lessons we all want as parents who love our kids to have. And it's how to be a better person, how to learn kindness, how to learn compassion, how to learn perseverance. And our heroes in our history are the best teachers of that.
So we've got a couple of requests for Rosa Parks. If you want to draw that, because for a while I have a question.
We got to
for
do Rosa
Brad.
Parks.
Yeah.
So Brad, while he's doing that, have you all thought about featuring lesser known folks from our history?
Yes, so let's talk about that. So,
yeah.
You know, right now we've done 24 books and we basically are still in like the big bold names. We're still in the Ben Franklins and the Anne Franks and the Walt Disneys and the names you know. The beautiful part of having Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum on PBS Kids is we've done 70 different heroes on that show. Are going to be in the first season. And because we have so many heroes, we've done heroes you've never heard of. Junko Tabai, who was the first woman, an Asian American woman who climbed Mount Everest. And we have all these amazing heroes that no one's ever heard of. And I love that. And one of the things we realized when we were doing Xavier Riddle is that for really, really little kids, because obviously the TV show is for kind of younger kids than the books are for, but for those younger kids, they don't know anybody. They don't know Rosa Parks. Maybe they know Abraham Lincoln. Maybe they know George Washington. Maybe they know Amelia Earhart. But everyone is new to them. Rosa Parks is new to them. Everyone we've done, George Washington Carver is new to them. Anyone we did Winston Churchill. They're like, who's that? And so it's amazing to realize that kids don't judge. They don't judge fame. They judge people on their merits and who they like. And we've had kids who wrote us letters saying that they love the fact that we did Julia Child, or they love that we did Gold of My Year, or they love that, and our real goal is if we do this correctly, that everyone, we prove in the end, the core belief, and that's why the series is called this, is it's our belief that ordinary people change the world. We don't care where you went to school. We don't care how much money you make. That is nonsense to us. We believe in regular people and their ability to affect change in this world. It's why we believe in a 7-year-old girl named Amelia Earhart, or an 11-year-old girl, as you can see there, named Harriet Tubman, who we did on Xavier Riddle, and is coming up and is one of the most amazing heroes of all. Don't tell anyone I told you. We're not supposed to say we're doing it yet, but we are. Secrets.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
We get losing you a little second, Brad?
that was going to be the.
I was done. I saw you done drawing. I was waiting for Patrick.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought you were going to give us another secret. We were excited about that. So we're getting close to running out of time here. I don't know if Chris, you want to draw something patriotic for us for July 4th?
Yeah.
And Brad.
Wait, draw Patrick as Uncle Sam. This is going to be you, Patrick. By the way, this is exactly how you look to us.
That's
This is
and
gonna be
probably my kids.
Oh, your kids are going to love this. You have to send this to Patrick then. This is going to be, you're going to have, you can go on, for anyone who loves Chris's art, you can go on the Ordinary People Change the World website, and there's a game that we have there where you can design yourself as Chris's art. So you can put in your hair, you can put in your eye color, you can pick your clothing, and you can be Eliopoulos-ized. How would you say that?
Creating a new verb.
That is a new
Yeah,
verb.
basically you can become Chrisified.
Right,
And this
and
is how
Brad,
you look, Patrick. This is it's basically like looking in a mirror.
terrific. Brad, any last parting shots for July 4th you'd like to share with everyone who's joined us today?
I'll say this, is one of the things I hope you realize, as we love talking about the political cartoons, and I should say the first political cartoon that you've seen published in the colonies, not obviously ever in all of history, but the reason we showed you those pages for Ben Franklin is we showed you, we all celebrate the Declaration of Independence today. And forget about all the people who are going to write on Twitter and say, like, it wasn't this day, it was this day, with July 4th, it's July 3rd. Everyone loves to point out every single detail about history. The most important detail we mentioned today is this wonderful, beautiful document that we all love and celebrate and honor today. It wasn't perfect the first time it came out. It took Benjamin Franklin to come in and make some edits and make sure we have the words exactly right. And for all of us, every one of us, none of us are going to be perfect. And our kids need to learn it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to just try. And together, moving forward, we can reach something that is better than just ourselves. And I hope you take on this July 4th, that's the message. That, to me, is what I love the most about America. What I love the most about America is that thing you see in the Declaration of Independence, but also that thing you see, to me, we should see every day. It's independence, it's diversity, it's promise that we should all have an equal chance to achieve our dreams. So happy July 4th to everyone there. And I wish you all, listen, I love the fact that we get to feature our books, but I wish you all safe, wonderful July 4th. And by the way, Patrick, we forgot to mention, there is a treat there's a secret code today. I forgot about this. I almost forgot. If you go to the archivesfoundation.org, the website, archivesfoundation.org, use this secret code, Liberty50, Liberty50. And if you use that, anything you buy there, except for like some billion-dollar desk, you get 50% off in the archive store today. So archivesfoundation.org, including our books. You can buy our books there today, 50% off. And that is Patrick's personal gift to everyone listening today.
That's it. Well, thanks so much, guys. And this has been such a treat to see this live. For the tips, unfortunately, I wasn't drawing along with you, but I've got it. We'll be watching the video to work on my drawing. Brad, safe travels and happy July 4th. Chris, thank you so much. Have a great holiday. Really appreciate your time.
Happy holiday. Thank you all.
Thanks.
All right, everyone, we're coming to the end of our time. As Brad mentioned, unfortunately, this outfit, if you've been with us all day, I've had a few costume changes. This is not available at the archive store, but we've got a ton of products that's related to our country's history, the holdings of the National Archives that are fun, curious, and stylish. And of course, lots of founding documents. The e-store is open at archivesfoundation.org. And yes, if you use the code Liberty50, the word Liberty and the number 50, you'll get 50% off today. When you visit the website, we hope that you'll also check out a lot of the other programs that we provide throughout the year that support the outreach activities of the National Archives, and consider membership, be a part of the family. Before I wrap up, I want to pass it to our partners at the National Archives for their final thoughts.
Thank you so much for spending some of your July 4th with me and learning about how the history of the founding of our country is told through original documents in the National Archives. Please join us for our upcoming virtual summer education programs for young learners. In this series with historical reenactors, participants will meet aviator Amelia Earhart on July 16th and suffragist Elizabeth Cady Stanton on August 20th. Both programs will begin at 11 a.m. Additional information for registration will be shared via social media and our website, archives.gov. This summer, you can also take a virtual journey with the National Archives to find out how the Declaration of Independence came to be. Our remaining virtual journey of the Declaration of Independence takes place on the following dates: July 9th, July 19th, and August 2nd. Each step of the journey will go live on the @USNat Archives Facebook page, our main Facebook page, by 1 p.m. of the program date. Join us along with historical reenactors to learn more about the Declaration of Independence. And now to conclude our program, it is my pleasure to introduce the Archivist of the United States, David S. Ferriero.
Thanks to American Historical Theater for sending us Thomas Jefferson, Abigail Adams, and John Dunlap. And thanks to Education Specialist Sarah Lyons Davis. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you'll tune in later today to our annual July 4th program broadcast. Have a safe, healthy, and enjoyable Independence Day.
Thanks, David. And I want to add our good wishes and appreciation to our sponsors today, John Hancock and AARP. Without their support, our program, July 4th at the National Archives, would not be possible. And of course, I want to thank our members who support us throughout the year. Some additional thanks for us getting through the day. Preparation thanks to the National Archives education staff in DC, led by Nick Coddington, and of course, Sarah Lyons Davis in New York City, and those who provided production support, Tom Nastic, Jamie Atkinson, and John Hine, and the Archives communications and social media team led by John Vouchinu. And to my team at the foundation, they prepped for months, stayed up late, got up early. I am grateful for their teamwork and collaboration to make this all come together. So thank you to Keneal, Rebecca, Maddie, Taylor, Matt, Margaret, Steve, Jason, Angela, Sven, James, Luis, Laura, and Jim, all in one breath. Great job, everyone. On behalf of the National Archives Foundation Board of Directors and the National Archives, thank you for spending this time with us today. Don't forget, if you're on social media, to post at #ArchivesJuly4. Ladies and gentlemen, whether it's your first July 4th as a citizen or your family has been celebrating July 4th in this country for generations, it's a celebration. It's a special day at the National Archives with this reading of the Declaration of Independence coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We hope to see you shortly then. And until that time, wave your flags, enjoy your patriotic day, and happy July 4th.